Okay, welcome everybody to the final podcast episode of 2022. And I wanted to do what I've done most years, which is a little bit of a yearly roundup reflection, but most importantly, focusing on the lessons that I have learnt from the last 12 months to really help us move forward in 2023. So this is 5 things that will make 2023 your best year ever. Now, back in, I think it was 2019, I did 13 steps to your best year ever. And to this day, it is still one of the most popular episodes we've done, one of the highest downloads. And I want to say as well, I still really think there's an awful lot of value in those 13 steps. So by all means, head on through the archives of the Success School podcast. Check out, it was like towards the end of December 2019, a similar time that I'm recording this now. Do go check that out because I think there's a lot of value in there that still absolutely applies to today. But I wanted to simplify this for this year because I feel like what I was doing back then when I recorded that episode was I was trying to give you the blueprint. I was trying to give you absolutely everything that covers everything you need to know in order to genuinely be living a life that means you're going to be happy, you're going to be healthy, you're going to be fulfilled, and you're going to be successful mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, so on and so forth. But let's be honest. Let's be really honest. Like, who has the time to listen to 13 steps? And then more importantly, who's going to actually implement all 13 week in, week out? You know, I think sometimes simplicity is key. Sometimes less is more, which is something I'm going to cover in this episode. Being pretty honest, most of us, we're going to listen to a podcast episode like that. We're going to think this makes sense. This is really valuable. This is useful. But when it comes to actually remembering all 13 things and implementing it, more often than not, it's just too much. So I wanted to condense things into 5 simple points this year. These are my 5 things to think about to make 2023 your best year ever. And before I dive into that, anybody watching on the live, whether it be on Facebook or TikTok, just let me know in the comments now. As you reflect on 2022, if you was to kind of like rate yourself out of 10, like 10 being it's the best year of my life, I couldn't have done anything better, it's been perfect, and 0 being it's been the worst year ever, horrendous. What would you rate yourself? Be honest. If you've got a high score, let me know specifically what is the thing that meant you had a high score. And if you've got a low score, what would have to change? This is the next question. What would have to change in 2023 to improve that score? What if you was to like nail it down to one thing? What's the one thing that you personally would need to change in 2023 to improve how you feel at the end of next year? Okay, let's dive into the 5 steps to make 2023 your best year ever. So number 1 is stop focusing on making 2023 your best year ever. Right, that's the first thing that I would say. Anybody that's come to this podcast now that's like, come on, I'm looking forward to learning how to make this my best year ever. My advice is you're already making a mistake because people who get hyped up and excited about this is my year, usually you're focusing from a place of excitement or desperation, and those are just emotions that don't stay. Like all emotions don't last. They come and they go. And it's not about focusing on hype and motivation and excitement because that is not sustainable. Instead, what we've got to do is focus more on practicality, okay? People that kind of get into this mindset of this is my year, what we tend to find is those are the people that tend to go into this all-in mentality, which is more often than not followed by the all-out mentality, which means it's crash and burn season. They start January like, I'm going to do all this. This is going to be my best year ever. I'm going to be the fittest I've ever been, the healthiest I've ever been. I'm going to make more money than ever before. I'm going to find my dream partner and, it's going to be amazing. 3 weeks into January, they're absolutely crash and burn territory. They're demotivated, they're exhausted, and they can't be bothered doing anything. So the first step, and I'm only giving you 5 because I think these are the 5 core things. If we focus on these 5, it's almost like everything else will take care of itself. The first step is stop. Stop saying, I want 2023 to be my year. 2023 is mine. I'm going to smash it. Blah, 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 blah. I'm so sick of all that terminology. And as somebody, myself that's very heavy into personal development and mindset, and I'm in that space, I am bored with the cliche BS quotes that just motivate and hype you for 5 seconds, and nobody does ball all with it. See a shelf behind me, if you're watching on the live, full of books. And this is the thing that I see a lot of people doing: shelf development, not self development. They just get book after book. They watch quote after quote, YouTube video after YouTube video. It's all hyper motivational, but nothing's actually substantial and sustainable. So the first thing, my first piece of advice to every single one of you right now is, if you genuinely want to be making progress in your life, if you want to be achieving the things that matter to you, if you want to be growing, having good experiences, feeling that you are fulfilled, happy, living a meaningful life, so on and so forth, stop focusing on this being the best year ever. Instead, shift your focus onto, how can I make every 24 hours as strong as possible? How can I, get into a position where I've got healthier routines and habits in place? There's a quote that I say all the time: look after the basics and the basics will look after you. And what I mean by that is, focus on the basic stuff that works if you consistently work at it. So focus on things like getting enough sleep, focus on nutrition, fresh air, hydration, getting exercise regular, focusing on daily habits and routines that are good for your mind, good for your body, is what's going to compound over the months and years, so that you're not just having the best year ever in 2023, but you're consistently having great experiences every year for the rest of your life. That is the mindset shift that I massively advocate and encourage every single person to adopt, if you're not already thinking like that. And something that I taught on the Bulletproof Actor course that I recently did with Ross Grant, which was amazing, by the way. And I know a few of you are working with me now. Some of you are on the Facebook Live and so on. But I think it's a really good kind of quote to remember. Focus more on output, not outcome. People get really fixated with, I want a six pack in 6 weeks, or I want to earn 10 grand a month by the end of the next year. And it's all outcome, outcome, outcome. My advice is, focus more on daily habits. Focus more on, am I doing within this 24-hour period things that are good for me and that are good for moving me forward in life? Rather than being so driven by outcome, focus more on being driven by the journey. Focus more on being driven by the daily habits, like I keep saying, but also something that I touch upon a lot. And if you've not already heard me speak about this, go through previous content, go through previous episodes of this podcast, because I go through this quite a lot. Focus on identity work. Who do you identify as being? Do you identify as being an action taker, as being a positive thinker, as being somebody who is productive, as being somebody who is healthy and health conscious, and really cares about their health? Is that what you identify as? Or do you identify as, I'm a procrastinator, me, I struggle with mornings, I hate the gym? Not going to go too deep on it in this, because I want to keep stuff simple, but I would urge, for one of these steps, I would urge you to go deep on this. Like I say, there's plenty of episodes that I've done on this. Also, the book Atomic Habits by James Clear is fantastic for talking about breaking habits and so on. And a big part of that is identity work. This is, again, what I call the goal setting gap. Most people, when it comes to setting their goals for the year, they focus heavily on, this is what I want. I want to get the partner of my dreams. I want a six pack. I want big arms, a skinny waist. I want to earn more money than I've ever earned, and so on and so forth. And they're really, really focused on outcome. Then the next thing they focus about is, okay, well, what do I need to do? Which is the output. What's the actions I need to take daily? Now, that's important. But the gap between those two things, the thing, we all know that the phrase, right? Consistency is key. The thing that's going to enable you to remain consistent in taking the relevant action and therefore getting the outcome you want, it's identity. And ultimately what that means is, it's about mindset. It's about you personally. What you think about yourself every single day will then start to show up in the decisions you make, the actions you take, and ultimately the outcomes you get. So identity is massive. So as I say, focus less on the outcome, right? Focus less on the outcome, more on the output. Okay, so the second step is, do not do things alone. I cannot stress heavily how much the biggest mistake that I see people make time and time again is trying to achieve stuff on their own. Here is the absolute reality. You are going to be way behind on what you could be achieving if you try and do everything alone. Aaron, who's just popped on the live now, TikTok, I've paid him recently for a coaching session. I'll be doing it again at some point soon because I believe Aaron can help me move faster than I would on my own. I've had multiple coaches. Right now, I've got a therapist that I'm working with who's absolutely bloody brilliant, a guy called Rick. I've got a personal trainer that I pay. I've got an amazing team at my business. So I have, for those who don't know, an entertainment agency, and I have 5 staff members that work with us. I've got a videographer that I pay. I've got all these people that help me to be able to push me forward way further and way quicker than I would ever be able to do on my own. Now, I'm not saying for a lot of people that you can just start out by going, oh, I'll just hire loads of people, even though I've got sod all money. Of course not. But start with, is there a community that you can get around? Is there accountability buddies that you can buddy up with? Like other people that are like-minded, that are focused, that are disciplined, and that genuinely want to achieve more in the coming months and weeks ahead? And can you hold each other accountable? Have you got a family member? You know, have you got a family member that's maybe a personal trainer or, I don't know, got some kind of value that they can add that you want help with? Hey, Nicola. Nicola says, absolutely agree with that, Matt. And Nicola is somebody, who's in my community. She also works with me on a one-to-one basis and pays me to coach her. And she has been doing for over a year. Now, I take her investment very, very seriously. When somebody works with me as their coach, I'm going all in to give you the best service I physically can. I mean, Nicola will probably say it if she's still on the live. She knows for a fact that what she's done in the last year, she'd have probably only achieved a fraction if she'd have been doing it alone. So, I mean, this isn't me doing a sales pitch. This is me literally talking about my life experiences. I myself massively grew in confidence, got into the best shape of my life, started to earn more money than I've ever earned, started to make more of an impact and build my brand way faster than I've ever done when I started investing in having coaches. I've got multiple people that I've invested in for business coaching, social media coaching, mindset coaching. As I say, I've got a therapist, all these different people. I've got a personal trainer. These investments are worth every single penny to me. So the second piece of advice I want to give you, if you're genuinely serious about being the best you can be and achieving the goals that you have for this year and beyond, is stop trying to do everything on your own. Build a power team around you. Look for your weaknesses as well, and make sure the people that you bring into your team complement your weaknesses. One of the things that I recognized very, very early on is I struggled massively with self-motivation, which is quite ironic because part of my job now as a coach is to motivate other people. But part of the reason I can do that so well is because I've invested in people that help hold me accountable, support me, push me, and motivate me, right? So it's not about going, oh, I could never be a motivational coach or a speaker because I struggle with self-motivation. It's about going, hang on, this is where I want to be. These are my flaws and my weaknesses. Who can I employ? Who can I get around me that are going to help bridge that gap, that are going to support me? I can see here Nicola's just put, my whole outlook, my expectations, my confidence, my knowledge, a hell of a lot has changed since working with you, and you do it amazingly. Oh, thank you so much, Nicola. I'll pay you later. I won't. I'm not really. I'm joking. And what I would say about this point is it's only once you have started to invest and see the benefits that you truly, truly realize just how beneficial it is. So if you're a little bit kind of like fearful about taking the plunge, investing in yourself, asking for help, things like that, it goes to that old school cliche thing of nothing ever comes from your comfort zone or nothing ever grows in your comfort zone. Step out of your comfort zone, have the courage to just commit to doing something different. If we're going to do all the cliche phrases, quotes, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always got. If you are somebody that has to this point been doing a lot on your own and fearing asking for help, fearing investing and getting support from other people, my advice would be 2023 is the year for you to make a change there. Take the plunge, have courage, recognize that nobody ever reached the highest heights alone. And whatever that is, if for you, it's to have, the best, most fulfilling, loving relationships, then it might be getting a relationship coach or counselor or therapist or getting friends advice that are already very successful in relationships. If for you, it's having the best body, it might be getting the best prep coaches, personal trainers, so on, so on, so forth. If for you, it's growing the biggest social media following and building a brand, it might be getting a coach in that. If it's business, if it's finances, if it's investing, so on and so forth. If you want to have the highest level of success, you're always gonna, nobody ever did it alone. They might have started alone, they might have had to start alone, but in order to really get to the highest heights, they had to invest in getting people around them to help them. Okay, step number 3, a little bit of a controversial one, but I was asked this question recently on a podcast. What would be the main piece of advice you'd give yourself to your 21-year-old self? And all I could go off is my honest reflection on my life. And as I reflected on the last just over a decade, that's right, I'm getting old now, the advice I would give to myself, in all honesty, is do less much better. And what I mean by that is I spent every year being one of those idiots, quote unquote. I love you really if you're thinking like this, because it was me. Every single year being like, this is my best year. I'm going to smash it. Healthiest I've ever been, fittest, most money, best relationship, biggest business, da 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 da. I was somebody who was always so ambitious. I started out, I went to acting classes when I was young. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a director. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a multiple business owner, entrepreneur, podcaster, singer. I wanted to be a touring artist, blah, 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 blah. I wanted to do it all. And because I wanted to do it all, I did a little bit of everything. And what that meant was stop, start, exhaustion, burnout, stop, start, exhaustion, burnout, and on it went. And I know that I could be 10 times further ahead in all areas of my life right now had I have just applied myself to one or two things very, very consistently for 5 or 6 years. And let's just be clear, decades go very, very quick, right? Unbelievably quick. So my advice to anybody now is stop trying to do everything. There's a quote that I love. You can have everything you want in this life, just not at the same time. My advice when I'm coaching people is this: figure out what is the one or two things that for you are going to move the needle the furthest. And what I would say in alignment with that is, what is the thing that's going to be foundational building? The thing that if you achieve a substantial result in that area is then going to be something you can leverage to then have success in other areas. Okay. So for you, it might be 2023 is all about, I need to get my health better because my physical fitness is shit. That affects my mood. It affects my energy. It affects my motivation. It affects my mindset, my positivity. Like, I need to really double down on building stronger foundations, healthier habits, so I feel better, so I'm in a better place to then think about everything else. For somebody else, it might be, I need to focus on my business and I need to put all my energy and time, or most of my energy and time in this next year on getting a substantial result, seriously building my brand, seriously building my finances, because then that's going to be a catalyst to then the following year where I can maybe start to hire somebody. Then I get time back. Now I can invest in other areas. There's something that there was like a school of thought that I've spoke about a lot this year, and I think this is important to put on this episode. Elon Musk had a quote, and he said, I'm going to misquote, but something along the lines of, instead of trying to achieve your 10-year vision, people should start to think, how can I achieve my 10-year vision in 6 months? He then went on to say, you'll probably fail, but you'll be much further ahead than the person who just accepted it would take 10 years. Now, a few years ago, I'll be honest, I fully supported that quote. I thought it was motivational. It was inspirational. It pushed me. I was like, let's go, 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 go. What I've learned over time through coaching other people and through being on my own journey is 9.9 times out of 10, that leads to people taking unsustainable action, going all in again, and being in a position where they're completely exhausted and burnt out. And then they go from doing everything to doing nothing, and then spending months and months feeling like crap and feeling deflated and feeling they're a failure and a letdown. My advice would be to take the school of thought that Tony Robbins said. And he said, most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. So my advice is this: have a clear 10-year vision. Know where you want to be in 10 years. And then this next year only needs to be about, what is the first step or what is the next step in that 10-year vision. That is it. And stop trying to do everything now. You can do everything you want, just not at the same time. So instead, say no to things. Have clear boundaries and stop thinking from a place of positive delusion that you can do it all now. You can't. Instead, know where you want to be over the next 10 years, have clarity on that, and then get clear on what is the thing that's going to move the needle the furthest over this next year, and then go all in 80% of your time on that one thing. And if you do that every year for a decade, you are going to live one extraordinary life. You're going to have some incredible outcomes. And this is where the outcomes start to take care of themselves. So have boundaries, say no to a lot of things, and make sure you focus on doubling down on one or two things to get a substantial result that will then create the foundations that you can leverage that result year after year after year. Point number 4. This is my advice if you want to have a great year next year and beyond. Put your energy into building a personal brand. I'm really big on this. I believe absolutely every single person who has access to the internet, to social media, I don't care what you do, I don't care what your skills are, what your dreams are, your vision is, your goals are, and so on. I truly believe every single person should invest minimum 50 hours this year into learning about building a personal brand on social media and getting good at it. And a lot of people are like, it's just not for me. I'm not good in front of the camera. But well, could you be? With support, with time, with practice, could you get good on camera? Could you become a person that's good at building a personal brand? Because right now, and I've said this for years and years and years, this is not new content. This is not new information. I've said it all along. I said it at the beginning of the pandemic. I said it before we even knew the pandemic was a thing. The only way I know to recession-proof your income is to have a personal brand. Now, over a decade, I've been building my personal brand on social media. And what that has meant is whatever I was wanting to earn money from doing, I had a platform to sell. You've got to remember, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And social media gives you the opportunity to speak to people en masse. You know, right now I'm recording this, it's going out to people on TikTok, it's going out to people on Facebook. I've got another camera over there recording it for my podcast. I'm also going to cut this up into multiple different pieces of content that will get distributed onto YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels. Some of them might get thousands of views, might get tens of thousands of views, all from taking the time now to just share some of the things that I've learned. Now, that will more than likely grow my audience, mean there's more people invested in what I say, learning about me, my values, my vision, what I have to offer. And then some of them in time will make a decision. Do you know what? I want to work with Matt. I believe he can help me. It doesn't matter what is going on in the world. If I have value to give, if I can solve people's problems, and if I've built a personal brand, so I've effectively communicated what I'm about, I will always have the opportunity to earn money. Whether we're in a recession, whether we're in a pandemic, it doesn't matter. I will always have the opportunity to make money. So when I was an actor, I used social media to get more awareness of my acting. When I was in my tribute band, I used social media to get more gigs, more bookings, build our fan base with that. When I launched my podcast, I used social media to get listeners. When I launched my coaching business, I used social media to get clients. Even though I've changed and pivoted and adapted what I've done, the one constant throughout it all is I've invested my time into building a personal brand. Now, I'm not the most successful person you'll hear speaking about this. There's way more successful people than me. But I've got a relatively decent Instagram following. I've got a relatively decent YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok following. And combined, I am able to communicate a message, people listen, and a percent of those people know, like, and trust me enough and believe I can help them enough to invest in working with me. Okay? My advice is, even if you don't know what you're going to sell yet, even if you don't know what value you bring to the table yet, just be you. Be authentically, honestly you. Get out there, get on lives, get on social media, and document your journey. I've been saying this now for 4, maybe 5 years consistently. But if you haven't yet listened and done anything about it, it's still not too late. There is still so much opportunity online right now. So I genuinely mean this. I don't care who you are. It's like was it Backstreet Boys song? Nicola, help me out. Who you are, where you're from. What is that? Backstreet Boys? One of them. I'm not going to go into that song. I kind of started, but I won't keep going. Don't worry. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're interested in. I don't care whether you are interested in business or not. I don't care whether you think you can sell or not. My advice is spend minimum 50 hours this year learning about social media, learning about personal branding, and learning how you can utilize social media and leverage having an audience to make money. I believe every single person should invest minimum 50 years into learning it, into putting it into practice and seeing if they're any good at it. I believe it's not a luxury. We can't afford not to in this day and age. That is my belief. So the fourth thing I believe everybody needs to be focusing on this year, I'm just laughing about the Backstreet Boys comments on Facebook. Build a personal brand. Invest some time and energy into learning and building a personal brand. My final tip for 2023, enjoy the journey and find the positives in now. So simple, but yet so easily neglected. And again, I'm holding my hands up here and saying this has been one of my biggest problems for many, many years. When you look at what I've already said in the previous steps, when you focus more on long term, when you focus more on having the correct team around you and the correct support in place, it enables you to take a little bit of pressure off and be more present now. My advice is don't spend all your time either dwelling on the past or focusing so much on the future or what you don't have that you forget to appreciate what you already have right now. It's a big, big problem that I see in particular in the entrepreneurial space. People still in this hustle porn, as they call it, mentality of sleep when you're dead, work 24 hours a day, go, 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 now, 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 now. And meanwhile, they've missed out on the most important thing that we have in life, which is enjoy the present moment, because nothing tomorrow is promised. Enjoy the fact you're healthy. You've got the opportunity to experience great things, whether it be with your partner, loved ones, friends, children, whatever it is that you value the most. People focus so much on what they don't have, they forget to appreciate what they do have. If you spend your life living like that, chances are you'll achieve all your goals that you've got today. You might achieve it in 5 years, maybe 2 years, maybe 10 years. You'll achieve it. But will you have enjoyed the process? Probably not. And will you be satisfied? Absolutely not. You'll just have new goals and you'll just be focused again on, I need more, I need more, I need better. And you can just spend decade after decade after decade chasing goals, executing on achieving, and then die and realize you missed the point of living. So please have gratitude, and not just in like this wanky cliche way that it's said a lot. Be present, appreciate the now, be thankful for what you have. My dad said it to me, smell the roses. And that was something I needed to hear a few years ago because I was always focused on next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing. I'm not good enough. I need more. I need better. My dad said, Matt, just wake up and smell the roses. I didn't really know what he meant. I had to Google it. I'm going to be honest. And what he meant was just take a little bit more time to appreciate what you already have. And here's the beautiful thing. Default setting is when you are truly grateful right now for what you already have, when you are already in a position of being present, you're going to have more meaningful connection with people. You're going to have better quality of conversations. You're going to be less stressed. You're going to feel less pressure. You're going to be more open to opportunities. And default setting is you're likely to achieve way more anyway. And here's the other thing. You're doing it where you're taking your business goals, your financial goals, your health and fitness goals, your relationship goals, and so on. And they're all starting to work in harmony where it's not like I need work-life balance. It's like everything's working at a level where I'm just present, I'm enjoying it, everything fits into place. So you ain't going to burn out. And that's the thing that's going to make you be more sustainable so you can achieve time and time and time again. So the fifth step that I've got, as I say, focus more on long-term success, as I've said in the earlier points. Do less, much better, higher quality of what you're doing. Stop thinking you've got to be successful author, podcaster, business owner, actor, writer, director, all these things that I used to think I needed to be. Because here's the thing, I actually get to do all that now. Because I stopped trying to do everything at the same time. I quit my acting career. I dropped my agent. I quit my tribute band, stopped gigging. I quit loads of stuff. And I went all in and doubled down at the beginning of 2020, all in on my podcast and coaching, all in on learning this stuff, being the best I could be at this stuff, really pushing this business. And in doing so, I got a substantial win. I earned more money than I've ever earned. I helped more people than I've ever helped, so on and so forth. And because I got a substantial result, I'm able to now leverage that result time and time again, which means, as I spoke about earlier, I'm able to grow my team. I'm able to invest in more people. I'm able to have more time back, to have more variety in my life now. So now I am in a position where I can write a book, do my podcast, go back into acting if I want. I'm now able, those of you that know, I regularly go on Steph's Packed Lunch and do TV every couple of weeks, live television, which is an amazing opportunity that I love. I now have variety in my life, because it was a short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. So if you're somebody right now who feels you're not as successful as you want to be, who feels like you're busy but not productive, if you feel like you're just going around in circles, my advice to you now, do less better and enjoy the journey. Stop focusing on so much on what you don't already have and flip some of that focus onto gratitude for what you have right now. And a little thing to add is have fun. If you're just miserable, always placing happiness on a destination, then you're living a miserable life. If you can recognize that happiness doesn't come from the achievement of goals, it doesn't. It might momentarily, it might give you a momentary high, but happiness really comes from being successful every single day, making the most of every single day, having goals that set sail and direction that you can be passionate about and execute on, work towards, is part of living a meaningful life, is part of feeling fulfilled. It's not the achievement of the goal. But most people get this wrong, and I got this wrong for years. I believed in my heart and soul, I will be happy when I have X amount of money. I will be happy when I have X amount of followers. I have the six-pack. I have the car, the watches, the blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. And I achieved pretty much everything I ever wanted. I achieved the bodybuilding competition. I achieved the Brit final invite from that bodybuilding competition. I achieved the £10,000 profit per month, which was like a target that I'd had. I achieved more than that, in fact. I achieved the offices, the staff, the big business, the so on, the so forth. And I realized all those achievements, they're just fleeting moments of, oh, this is nice, this is good, woohoo, well done, I did it. Now what? So this is what I'm saying. If you constantly think you'll be happy when you achieve stuff, in my opinion, you will miss the meaning of life. So please enjoy the journey. Appreciate what you always have. Stop focusing so much on the past. It's been, it's done, it's over. Stop focusing always on the outcomes that you want to achieve, the things you don't have, and the future you want to create. Know all that. By all means, have clarity on that. It's important to know you're heading in a direction that aligns with your values, your vision, and what you want from life. Stop focusing on it so much. Focus more on the now, on the enjoying the now, on the getting the most out of the just gone Irish for a minute, on getting the most out of the now and being more present. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Has this been useful? I'm just going to do a quick recap. 5 things to make 2023 your best year yet. Number 1, stop focusing on trying to make 2023 your best year yet. For me, it's short-term thinking, it's hype, it's over-the-top motivation. Instead, flip that and focus on daily habits and routines. What are the things every single day that enable you to be successful every day? What enable you to get the most out of every day? Look after the basics: sleep, nutrition, fresh air, hydration, exercise, working on your mindset. Focus on just doing them as best as you can every day. Phrase that I say time and time again: look after the basics. The basics will look after you. Number 2, stop trying to do everything alone. Build a team around you, get support, ask for help, hire people, join communities, have accountability buddies, get a therapist, get a coach, get a personal trainer, get a business coach, so on and so forth. But whatever you do in 2023, if you want growth and progress and fulfillment and more happiness and more success, stop trying to do everything alone. Number 3, do less, better. Stop trying to do everything yesterday. Stop trying to crush your 10-year goals in 6 months. 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, it doesn't work. It leads people to overwhelm. It leads people to exhaustion. It leads people to burnout. Longer term thinking, focusing on what's the 1 or 2 things that are going to move the needle the furthest, the quickest, is always going to lead to more sustainable progress that you can then leverage that result year after year after year. Number 4, build a personal brand. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you want out of life. I don't care whether you think you crap at business. I believe it's not a luxury. Every single one of us should invest time this year into learning about personal branding, learning about social media, and investing time into getting good at it. And number 5, enjoy the journey and find the positives in now. Whew, there we go. If you are listening on the podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave me a rating, if you could subscribe, if you're not already subscribing, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you enjoy these, please do me a favor. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you drop me a review. And if you could, please do me a favor and share this podcast episode out with somebody you believe will benefit from listening. If you could share it on your Instagram story, share it on your Facebook. If you could put a little caption just saying why you think people need to hear this episode, it would be massively, massively appreciated. Lots of love to you all. Have a great rest of your evening, whatever you may be doing. And I hope you found this useful. Take care, everybody.